Alright guys, so today I'm going to be talking about rifle stance. And what I mean by rifle stance or a carbine stance is basically presenting yourself to a threat in a proper alignment. Okay, my choice of stance when I'm shooting any type of pistol or rifle, I shoot them exactly the same. So if I chose to shoot the isosceles stance, I'm going to choose that for my rifle and my pistol to keep it exactly the same as such. Now there's been some, controversies over times and years what the best stance is. In my particular opinion, is the isosceles. Number one, it gives you a better platform with your feet. Number two, it presents yourself, if you're wearing body armor, less likely to be injured or killed in the battlefield or dealing with the threat. If I was standing directly in front of you and you were my threat, what's most likely to be hit? What most likely is the suspect going to engage? He's going to try to engage the upper torso as best as possible because that's what he's shooting at, or the head. If you're wearing rifle plates, you're less likely to get killed or injured. Now let's switch it over and try the Weaver stance. Now if I was shooting like this, okay, you're the threat. The round has more ability to come through an unprotected area, such as your arm, your armpit, blow right through you, cause a mass trauma to your body. Okay, I'd rather be hit center mass or in my plates or in my body armor than actually take a hit through the lung and the heart, because you're going to die. There's no question about that. That would be almost impossible to treat in the battlefield. So think about your stance and get it right. So what we're going to talk about is the rifle grip and the stance. Many out there in the tactical community already practice this. It's been taught by many good instructors out there, and it's taken on a very fast train out of nowhere. So a lot of guys also use the thumb over bore. I'm a big fan of that, although I don't always use it. I usually like to run my thumb along my sight here. If I'm in a nighttime application, obviously I'm going to go to thumb over bore for a flashlight. I choose to run my thumb parallel with my rail, and then that's what I feel comfortable with. When it comes to your pistol grip, I run the BCM. This is the Mod 1. BCM has an excellent quality grip, and it allows your wrist to stay vertical with the weapon instead of on a horizontal cant or a slight cant. So when you're running a plate carrier like I am, or a chest rig, you got a lot of gear on, it tends to tweak your wrist a little bit, especially with the Magpul MOE grips. Well, the BCM kind of straightens your wrist out, similar to an AK-47. So you want to get your webbing of your hand as high as possible on that grip to allow you to have a firm, solid, secured purchase on your grip there. Now I do a lot of stimpling on my grips, that way I know that I'm not losing traction. When you get in there, you're going to squeeze, not death squeeze, but you're going to squeeze pretty good to ensure that your rifle's not going anywhere. Now, thumb over bore will look similar to this, and then when you present yourself to the target, you're going to blade off, and I usually blade off just a tad over shoulder width, and either drive my foot forward to get a good solid bend in the knees, and to drive that gun forward, that way I'm not rocking back. You'll see a lot of guys out there, they shoot, like this, and they're standing straight up. Well, what's happening when they're shooting is they're coming off target. So if we get a good solid purchase, get those knees bent, and get off the heels of your feet, get on the balls, and lean forward a little bit. Present your rifle. Now your stock is going to go not on the shoulder, it's going to try to hit in that pocket. But obviously wearing plate carrier, it's kind of difficult, so you got to kind of manipulate that a little bit. when you put the gun in your shoulder, you're going to get it low and as even as you can to your shoulder blade, just around your clavicle collar. Put the rifle in there, bring it down, and you should be about right here. Okay. Now also there's got a lot of guys out there and people I've seen doing chicken wing shooting, and that's kind of an old school stance taught way back in the early 80s and 90s, and a lot of guys enjoy shooting like that, but it's kind of phased itself out. What you want to do is tuck your elbow in to be able to get that purchase on your weapon, be able to get a solid platform when you're shooting. So you're going to kind of look like this. I'll open my caps up. Thumb over bore. Get a good, nice, solid stance. You're able to drive that weapon straight up into the target or your threat. All right, now that I showed you a little bit of the stance procedures, let's talk about your right arm. Your right arm is your best friend in moving your weapon and driving your gun to the target as fast as possible. Also, a lot of guys like to do is they like to mag well grip. I don't like it. I think it's a terrible way to shoot your firearm, unless you're on a prone position on a bag and you want to place your hand there just for extra comfort or make sure the gun's sturdy. That's the only time I'd really use it. Get away from the mag well grip. Reason being is you got a little bit heavier top end gun like I do. You got lights, a heavier compensator on top. You got all kinds of gear on top of your rails here. So it's going to make your barrel and your top end of your gun a little bit heavier. So you want to be able to have as much control of your weapon as possible. So if you're shooting like this, okay, that's not really a good platform. This is a very wobbly way to do it. So you want to take your strong hand to the front end of your weapon. Get your purchase that you like on the weapon yourself if you're a thumb over bore guy, or inline parallel with your rail. Want to drive your elbow shouldn't be straight. It should be bent a little bit to help reduce the recoil of the weapon and to actually push the weapon forward. Similar to shooting a shotgun, I always tend to pull forward on the weapon a little bit to reduce the recoil of the weapon, even though the ARs and M4s, they don't have a kick. So, all right, so drive your weapon up, elbow canted a little bit. This gives you a better solid, obviously grip on the gun, and able to drive your muzzle to where you want very quickly, very adequately, and very precise shooting. So if I'm up here, I can drive around like this, and I'm not bouncing all over the place as I would holding the mag well. So